Gathering of Summit Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Sunday service. Passover greetings and happy Easter to all who celebrate. It's a treat to be doing the flower communion again in our sanctuary, and we are delighted to welcome Reverend Tania Márquez back to our pulpit. She is our congregation's on-call pastoral care provider, as well as a hospital chaplain in our county. Remember, we are recording today's service and we'll turn it off for our community gathering after the service. And now let us turn our hearts and minds to our musical prelude.
This is Mozart, Sonata Kochel 283, first movement.
Summit UU Fellowship is a spiritual community deeply committed to the shared values of love and inclusion. We have no specific Unitarian dogma, however, we do aspire to the principles and purposes listed at the end of your order of service. The mission of Summit is to commit ourselves to building a more compassionate, just, and sustainable world. We do acknowledge that the land upon which we reside is unceded and part of the long legacy of the Kumeyaay people. The spiritual traditions and enduring sovereignty of the Kumeyaay are the first that we acknowledge from this land. We also aspire to act upon our UU principles and traditions of peace and justice as we recognize the violent history of colonization in California. We honor the continuing presence of the Kumeyaay Nation. We go next to our chalice sliding, and I think some folks are joining us. Hi, Mason. Mason will be lighting the chalice for us. These are words by Elizabeth Strong. Out of the earth rises light, rises life, rises spring.
May we join with the miracle that is springtime and enter into life with lightness and joy.
Out of the Spirit rises faith, rises hope, rises love.
May we join with the miracle that is Easter time and enter into life with hope and love. Let us resurrect with spring. Let us resurrect with the Spirit and enter into renewal life as we gather into our time of worship together this Easter morning.
Thank you, boys. Please stand if you are able and join me with the UU hymn and then aspiration. And then we're going to have a hymn after that, so don't sit.
We have
No.
an announcement?
Oh, I moved to, I thought announcements were at the end. Okay, then. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm just following the order of service.
Okay,
so-
well, that's my bad then. Sit down and we will have announcements. My
Sandy's on
apologies.
Zoom.
Oh, Sandy's on Zoom. Excellent. Sandy's on Zoom. Hi, Sandy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you folks hear me?
Yeah.
I'm reporting from Coronado Beach. But I wanted to let you know that we've reached the 50% mark on our generosity campaign. And we have 50% more to go. So we will be sending out the forms again this week as a reminder. But please get them in as soon as possible so we can send out the thank you notes. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Sandy. Now Al is on his way. He's going to, I believe, have an announcement for us as well. Okay.
Happy Easter, so, morning, boys, so, well, we have one more week left of shelter through next Saturday, and we still have a need for somebody. We have people, a couple of overnights, and also about 3 or 4 evening trolley pickups between 5 and 7, and you're welcome to stay and partake of some of the generous food that people of Summit and other churches have provided, and so. Other than that, it's been great. Your support has been fantastic, and so I want to thank you very much. And yep.
I hear it's been going well. Okay, now you may stand if you are able, and we will do our UU hymn and aspiration, and then we're going to move into a hymn right away, so don't sit, okay? Tanya, you want to start us? and service be its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. And now we will sing number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Easter Blessing by John O'Donohue. On this Easter morning, let us look again at the lives we have been so generously given. And let us let fall away the useless baggage that we carry, old pains, old habits, old ways of seeing and feeling. And let us have the courage to begin again. Life is very short, and we are no sooner here than it is time to depart again. And we should use the time that we still have. We don't realize all the good that we can do. A kind, encouraging word or helping hand can bring many a person through dark valleys in their lives. We weren't put here to make money or to acquire status or reputation. We were here to search for the light of Easter in our hearts, and when we find it, we are meant to give it away generously.
Now we have another hymn, but let's sing while seated. Number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. in our chaotic world, I find myself very grateful to be part of a community where the word compassion is in the mission statement. If Summit is one piece of your life where this resonates for you as well, please acknowledge this as we receive our morning offering, which sustains our fellowship.
I will be playing 3 selections from Fleur de France by composer Germaine Taillefer, who was active in, as a young woman in a group called Les Six in 1921. It was really cutting edge, and this is later in her life, early 60s. And each one of these is celebrating, I think, a different region of France, and I thought in honor of our flower communion, it would be particularly appropriate. So the first one is Sunflower. I'm going to attempt the French. Tournesol du Languedoc. And the second one is Rose d'Anjou. And the third one, this means poppy, as Coquelicot de Guyane. And the tournesol, by the way, is sunflower.
For the prayer and meditation, I just want to mention that we have some honored guests in our service today. I don't know if you've noticed, but the children are staying with us today, and we are so honored to have you here. We don't get to enjoy your presence as much all the time, so thank you. Thank you for being here. And I'm just wondering, when you think about prayer, what comes to mind, prayer or meditation? What comes to mind? What's a prayer? What's a meditation? Quiet, peace, stillness. Asking for something you need or want in your life. What else? Conversations. Inward, yeah. Relationship. Those are really good words. Those are very, very good words. But a lot of people, do you have a word? No? Well, sometimes a lot of people think that prayer there's only one way to pray, and it's got to be quiet and silence. And that's true, that's one way to pray. But there are many ways to pray. And before I share with you the prayer that I have for all the adults, there are ways in which we also pray with our bodies, because our bodies ask us to move in specific ways. Our bodies tell us about the things they need. So I'm just going to invite you to do a very, very quick breathing exercise and movement exercise. So one of the things that we can pay attention is just focusing on our breathing, right? Like if you breathe in, and you feel your lungs do you feel the air in your lungs and you breathe in? And then you breathe out, right? And then if you add just stretching your arms as you're breathing, and see how good it feels for your body to stretch and to move, and then you just exhale and lower your hands. You just kind of feel that sensation, right? And you can shake your body, you can shake your arms, your shoulders. There are many ways to pray. And some people pray by dancing, by moving, by walking. So just remember that. You get to find out what the best way to pray is for you. But I'm going to offer you this prayer that was adopted by Serafina Galante. Spirit of resurrection, in the season of renewal, the hidden beauty of nature is preparing to unfold, and life is bursting into bloom. Spirit of life, we feel you flowing and pulsing within and rejoice in the song of life that reminds us of our hidden beauty, awaiting rebirth. Now join me in singing, There is a Balm in Gilead, number 1045. I believe the words will be on the screen. Now, because we have the flower communion today, you've noticed that things have been a little different today, or a lot different. I love spring. Who loves spring with me? Yes, yes. I'm one of those people, and I say that because I want to believe that I'm not the only one, and it looks like I may not be, that is overtaken by joy when I see the wildflowers on the side of the road in spring. I allow my eyes to behold the beauty. And the joy also comes from remembering what that side of the road and the mountains used to look or will look like in summer. I remember how brown, dried, and dead they looked a few months ago, and now they're just blooming and bursting with life. In this month, you as a congregation are exploring the theme of resistance. Resistance as a spiritual and political act is to live out our lives aligned with the values of love, justice, and compassion that we profess as Unitarian Universalists. The story leading to Easter Sunday, the story told by Christianity, is precisely a story of resistance. John Whitehead puts it this way about when he talks about Jesus. A radical nonconformist who challenged authority at every turn. Jesus was a far cry from the watered-down, corporatized, simplified, gentrified vision of a meek creature holding a lamb that most modern churches peddle. In fact, he spent his adult life speaking truth to power, challenging the status quo of his day, and pushing back against the abuses of the Roman Empire. From his entrance to Jerusalem, the clearing of the temple from sellers and buyers, healing of people at the temple, he draws more and more attention from those who need him the most, and at the same time gains more enemies as those in power from whom his presence, actions, and preaching becomes a threat. This last week in the stories of Jesus' life is a story of confronting those in power, of living his life with integrity, with love and compassion, even as doing so meant putting his life at risk. It meant trusting a love and a vision greater than himself as he faced the injustice of his sentence and death. His is the story that continues to our day, where those who fight for justice, who for change are often silenced to protect the interests of the few or those in power. The story of the resurrection is a story of resistance. And if you struggle with the word resurrection, let me offer you this perspective from the Reverend Anna Bladel. Resurrection is the practice of reassembling the shattered and scattered pieces of our lives and communities. Resurrection is the practice of recollecting the lives and histories and wisdoms that have been lost, erased, diminished, neglected. Resurrection is the practice of remembering the deep interconnectedness we share with one another and with the divine. So our coming together, our participation in ritual is one way in which we practice remembering. In a moment, we will participate in the ritual of the flower communion. And you will get to hear more about how it came to be when Sam shares the story with us. But I just want to know that this ritual created by the Unitarian minister Norbert Chapek was also created as an act of rebellion and resistance. Stories of resistance, whether religious or not, to me are always a reminder of the capacity humans have to step outside the cultures and systems that created them and to question and point out when those systems and those in power have lost their way and are no longer serving the people they are meant to serve. A reminder of the capacity to see when dehumanizing practices have become the norm or when traditions turn out to be too narrow to allow the inclusion of newer understandings of what it means to be human. These stories of resistance hold the paradox of the human spirit's ability to find or create beauty, even in the midst of dire circumstances. The human spirit that in all suffering guided Jesus through his final days, the human spirit that moved Chapek to share beauty in the midst of indescribable suffering, the human spirit that moved with sadness, fear, and joy the broken-hearted women who showed up to the tomb to find that the body of their beloved was no longer there. Where is the hope then? I think that hope is in the renewal of life, to which we bear witness in the emergence of color and beauty of spring all around us. Hope is in the light that enters after one has been in the dark for too long. Hope is in the heart's ability to experience a range of emotions that reminds us that we are still alive. We too are renewed, resurrected, brought to life, some of us more than once. And when we are able to leave the tomb that sheltered us, to see the stone rolled open and to hear the voice of the living again, most of us know exactly what Jan Richardson means in her Mary Magdalene's blessing when she says, "This is your life calling you to you from a place you could never have dreamed. But now that you have glimpsed its edge, you cannot imagine choosing any other way. So let the tears come as anointing, as consecration, and then let them go. All you need to remember is how it sounded when you stood in the place of death and heard the living call your name." The story of the resurrection as a metaphor is the story of our life's journeys, of the times we found ourselves too in the dark, lost, almost dead, of the times we emerged from those times transformed, alive again, when after searching and searching we found our voices, our strength, our sense of belonging, when we were touched by light, the light of others, of life and our own. Hope is in the understanding that life calls us over and over again to be fully alive, to know the heart's capacity for love beyond grief, to be resurrected from all that no longer serves us, to create new life. Hope is in hearing the call as a blessing and in knowing that the blessing we have received is one we must share with others. Hope, as Jonathan Hugh puts it, is realizing all the good that we can do. I'm going to invite Sam to tell us a story and to share with us a little bit more of the flower communion. Thank you, Sam.
Hi. The book I'm going to be reading today is called The Whispering Town. This book takes place during the Holocaust. So, there are some new friends in the cellar, Annette, Mama said when I woke up. Time to take breakfast down to them. I paused at the top of the stairs. The cellar scared me because it was dark, but the whispering voices gave me courage. When I reached the bottom, I entered the secret room where we hid Danish Jews from the Nazis. A woman and her son sat on the cot. "I'm Annette," I said, holding out the basket. "Mama made you breakfast." "I'm Carl." The boy took the basket and handed his mother a roll and soft-boiled egg. "We thank you," she said. Back upstairs, I sat down to my own breakfast. "How long will our new friends stay?" I asked. 2 nights, said Papa. "On the 3rd night, a boat will take them to Sweden. While they're here, we need more bread," Mama said. After breakfast, I walked to the bakery. "We have new friends," I whispered to the baker. "Here is extra," he whispered back, handing me a bulging bag. "Stay safe." On the way home, I saw Nazi soldiers knock on a door across the street. Even though they had been in my town for a long time, my stomach still knotted when I saw them. "Mama, Papa, soldiers across the street," I said when I came home. Mama tapped 3 times on the cellar door to warn our friends to be quiet. After the soldiers left, Papa looked up at the cloudy sky. "No moon tonight," he said. "It will be difficult for our friends to find the harbor in the darkness." The next day, I took food to the cellar again. Again, I let the whispering voices guide me down the dark stairs. "This will help the time pass," I said, handing Carl some library books. He took them and smiled. "I love to read." "Mama, I need new books," I said when I came upstairs. After breakfast, I walked to the library. "We have new friends," I whispered to the librarian. "Be careful," she whispered back, handing me extra books. On the way home, I saw Nazi soldiers knock on our neighbor's door. "Mama, Papa, soldiers next door," I said when I came in the house. Mama tapped 3 times on the cellar door. After the soldiers left, Papa looked up at the cloudy sky. "No moon again tonight," he said. "Maybe the clouds will clear tomorrow." Again, the next morning, I let the whispering voices guide me down the dark stairs. As Carl reached into the breakfast basket, a heart-shaped stone fell to the floor. Carl picked it up. "I found this with my papa the last time we walked on the beach," he said. "It's beautiful," I said. "Annette, we need more eggs," Papa said when we finished breakfast. I walked to the farm. "We have new friends," I whispered to the farmer. "Wish them well," he whispered back, giving me extra eggs. On my way home, I saw Nazi soldiers heading for our house. I cut across the alley and raced through our back door. "Mama, Papa, the soldiers are coming to our house." They didn't answer me. No one was home. I tapped 3 times on the cellar door. Then I heard the pounding on the front door. Boom, boom, boom. I opened it a crack. "We've heard rumors that someone is hiding Jews on this street," said a soldier, pushing the door open. "I haven't heard any rumors," I said, trying to stop my voice from shaking. "When we find them, we will arrest everyone," warned the other soldier. Trembling, I closed the door. "The soldiers were here," I said, when Mama and Papa returned. "They were looking for hidden Jews." "Brave Annette," Papa hugged me. "Our friends must leave tonight even though it is cloudy. How can we get them safely to the harbor?" I thought about being afraid of the dark cellar and how the whispering voices guided me down the stairs. "Papa, what if people stood in their doorways and used their voices to guide our friends to the boat?" I suggested. Papa stood quietly, considering my idea. "That might work," he said. "Help me to arrange it." I ran to the baker, the librarian, and the farmer to tell them about our plan. They agreed to help spread the word around the village. At midnight, Carl and his mama came up from the cellar. Carl pressed the heart-shaped stone into my hand. "Remember me always, Annette." I held the little heart against my own. After Carl and his mama slipped into the night, I leaned as far as I could out my bedroom window. I heard our neighbor whisper from his doorway, "This way," he said, guiding Carl and his mother towards the harbor. Then our neighbor's neighbor whispered, "This way." The whispers continued from neighbor to neighbor until Carl and his mama had safely reached the boat. I squeezed the stone in my hand and imagined them walking free on the beach in Sweden.
Thank you so much, Sam. So how does this relate to the flower communion? Norbert Chopek, who was the minister who created the ritual of the flower communion, came to the U.S. after the First World War I. And once it felt safe to go back to his country in Czechoslovakia, he and his wife moved back. This year, in 2023, we're going to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the flower communion. The flower communion was created precisely as a way to bring hope to people, to see beauty beyond the dire circumstances of the people at the time. Unfortunately, Norbert Chopek was arrested in 1942 by the Gestapo. He was accused of listening to foreign broadcasts, and he was sent to a concentration camp. The Reverend Schwartz wrote the following about Norbert Chopek. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower communion with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could along the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. So that's what we do. We're recreating a ritual that was created, and not only was held in his church, but that also that he shared with the prisoners in the camp. So I'm going to invite the children to help me by bringing the flowers. We're going to consecrate the flowers. So you were invited to bring flowers, and this is the idea of the Holy Communion, right? You bring a flower from your garden, you bring a flower from whatever, but it's a flower that you were called to bring. But then, as we share them here and create a bouquet together, you get to take a flower that is different from the one that you brought. And that what that means, it just represents the beauty that each of us bring and how we are also impacted by the beauty we take. So I'm going to invite you, the children will come up to the front, and then I'm going to invite you to just, as you feel moved, to join us in picking a flower. And you can also sing along hymn number 78, Color and Fragrance. Thank you. So whenever Reverend Chopek conducted his flower communion in Prague, he would say this proverb as he consecrated the flowers, and so I repeat his words. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid the diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of kinship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world.
Number 78 in your hymnal, if you want to find the words.
And as you hold everyone has a flower? Yay. As you hold your flower, I invite you to listen to this responsive reading that Jen and Mason are gonna lead us into, and you will respond, "May our lives bloom like the flowers."
Each of us is a flower with a delicate beauty and uniquely our own. We may be like sunflowers, turning always towards the light. May our lives bloom like the flowers.
We may be like night blooming cerise, only displaying our fragrant petals when it is dark, and we think no one else can see.
We may be hothouse flowers, far from our native lands, cautiously tended with a harsh and unfamiliar climate. May our lives bloom like the flowers.
We may be gray-headed like dandelions, eager to launch the new generation with the first strong gust of wind, past our own bright youth, but ready to pass our wisdom on to precious gossamer-carried seeds. May our lives bloom like the flowers.
Some of us sometimes spring up overnight and fade in the hot glare. May our lives bloom like the flowers.
Some of us, sometimes, are roses, slowly assembling petal after tightly wrapped petal, and revealing our full glory only when everything is in place. May our lives bloom like the flowers.
Sometimes we are roadside weeds, loveliness, bursting and bloody with the dust and dirt. May our lives
Bloom like the flowers. May we offer our beauty with the simplicity of flowers, expecting no recognition, hoping for nothing, giving out of what we are, and knowing it is enough. May our lives bloom like the flowers. Amen.
Thank you, Mason. That's great, Jen.
May you carry these words with you. May the flower remind you of this community, of the gifts you bring, and the gifts that others share with you when you are in community. And we close with these words by Charles Flagg. We seek life's meaning in the wonder of morning, in the freshness of springtime, and in each other's hearts and minds.
Yet still we hope for something more, a break in the ordinary, an infusion of the unexpected, an explosion of glory, a miracle revealing more than we hope to understand. I guess I cleared a lot. Close it. Okay, closing circle song. Everybody gets to get up if they want or not. And we'll have our closing circle song. Whoops, I'm gonna keep dropping things.